for joining us today. I would also like to thank our speakers for accepting our invitation. And my name is Paula Galveo. I'm from INL. INL stands for the International Nanotechnology Laboratory. We are I would say that we are the only international organization that is focused on nanotechnology research. And when we mean by nanotechnology research, we're not talking about fundamental research. We're talking about research that will tackle societal challenges and industry challenges in high TRL levels. We're quite a recent institution. We've been here for 10 years. And as an intergovernmental organization, we were born out of a dream of the countries of Portugal and Spain to create a nanotechnology center of excellence. So we've been here for 10 years. Our investment is around 100 million euros. And today we count with around 400 employees. We work around basically all sectors in the business areas in the industry. We are organized around 6 clusters. These are energy, clean energy, medical, a lot in diagnostics. We have the food cluster and personalized food. We have the ICT and nano devices cluster. Environmental monitoring. And then the only fundamental one, the one that we cluster focused on breakthrough technologies, more on the lower level TRL and what we call the future and emerging clusters. So out of the 6 clusters that we have at INL, the 6 technological clusters, only one we would say that would be more down to the lower TRL levels. Like I say, we work with industries across various sectors, from textile, automotive, mobility, plastics, molding, metallurgy. So there's a lot of industries that we can count already on our portfolio. Why are we here today? We are here today within a European funded project. We call it the PITCCH project, which is focused on establishing a sustainable collaboration model for open innovation, and in this case, between SMEs and large companies. Within the project, we are not looking through the normal ICT-related platforms that forge collaborations through ICT matchmaking features, no. We understand that for an effective open collaboration between SMEs, startups, and large companies, we need mentoring, we need coaching, we need technical expertise, we need business expertise, IP expertise that come from technological centers. So PITCCH aims to create a network of technological centers that will act as brokers and forge collaborations and open innovation between smaller companies, startups, and SMEs, and among reaching the challenges or meeting the challenges of large companies. So Michaela will present later a bit how we work within this project. We will start this session with a keynote speech of our friend Maurits Butter. So Maurits was, like I say, the brain behind the PITCCH project. So we will have a key presentation from Maurits on what is open innovation and what are the current challenges and the current issues. The Maurits presentations, we will have a short Q&A session, and then we will jump on to George. George, I would also thank you for coming here. So George comes from the Inspire project, a project that also recently finished, based also in open innovation. So obviously we want to collaborate with George and get lessons and experience from what he had in implementing his project, and maybe together these projects can carry on in the future. We will have then the presentation of Michaela on our challenges and on the PITCCH project, and then Cesar, I would also like to thank you for joining us today. So Cesar comes from a small startup company who's also embraced somehow in this open innovation arena. So he's participated, we can say, in open innovation projects. or the open innovation way of collaborating, and he will come here to tell us a bit of our experience. To all, once again, thank you very much. I hope this will be a fruitful and interesting let's say conference for all, and basically with some interaction where we could really clarify some doubts and share our experiences in the benefit of all. Thank you very much. Maurits, I pass the word to you.
Thank you, Paula. Yes, so I'm Maurits, but I'm from TNO, a research and technology organization in the Netherlands. And I will give you some backgrounds in what open innovation is, and just setting the tone, setting the landscape on what about open innovation. So this will be a kind of an appetizer, you might say, to inspire you to think about open innovation and how you can get involved. So Chesborough started with the idea in 2003, and he said he defined it as a paradigm that assumes that firms can and should use external ideas as well as internal ideas, etc., etc., etc. So can you click to the next slide? And so that was the first idea of what open innovation could be. And he in 2014 slightly changed it, but he put up front the distributed innovation process. And that's a very interesting thought, so that you are distributing your innovation process. And it's across the organizational boundaries, so you collaborate with other people. And that's a very interesting way to look at open innovation. If you can click on the next slide, please. So what's the reasoning behind open innovation? That's, of course, the golden circle kind of thinking. Why? That's the first step. It is because our society is getting more and more complex, and innovation is getting more and more complex. So what we see is we cannot do it only alone anymore. We need to have the collaboration with other organizations to ensure that we are still maintaining in Europe our present global position, a strong global position on innovation. And the reason behind open innovation is that's a very important approach to ensure that. But it's also about that our society is changing, where in the early days it was just we are doing it ourselves. We are now getting into a society where we think we need to collaborate, and the social networking is, of course, a driver for that. It's easy to get connected to each other, and to collaborate with each other is also quite efficiently organized. And the pace, because of all those things, the pace of innovation is also enhanced. And it's more and more a winner takes it all. And you're reducing the window of opportunity. It is a challenge for open innovation, but open innovation has some benefits from that. And it's expanding the markets for your own ideas. Where if you need to access the market and to get access to the market on your own, it's more difficult than if you collaborate with other people, enhancing your opportunities to get into new markets. But also there's a kind of a strange thing with IPR, because on one side, IPR is becoming more and more important, but on the other hand, it's more and more difficult to enforce IPR, and that allows you to think about open innovation ways dealing with that IPR. And I'll later talk about that a little bit more. So then, next slide, please. The innovation process. This is all about innovation, getting an invention to the market. That's what it's all about. And it's a combination of, on one side, the the product development, and on the other side, the process development, manufacturing process development. Those need to come together in that innovation chain. So from invention to concept validation, prototyping, pilot production, and finally getting it into the market. Those are all kind of phases where you need to join forces with your stakeholders in order to get to be successful on the market. And that's where the innovation process kicks in. The open innovation kicks in. Can you go to the next slide, please? So it is a kind of a funnel of all kinds of activities that you will do in order to walk through that innovation chain from invention to prototyping to market introduction to market expansion. And if you click again, the way it's normally used is you do it yourself as a company. But now there are also external companies that could help you benefit from that invention and creating more a broader perspective of that on that invention to get it into a broader market. So can you click again? And that's the open innovation is about creating mechanisms to enable those external partners to collaborate with you. They will help you create new markets, but they will also, through working with you, create their own new markets. And that's a very important element for open innovation. And that's the challenge, how to organize it. But on the other hand, the opportunity that it can give this open innovation approach to you. And if you can click again. So what is open innovation? I've included in this slide the old way of looking at innovation and the open innovation, the new way of looking at innovation. So where the closed innovation is about all smart people work for you, the open innovation is about let's use external experts also in key activities, because that we can help, we can make use of that. It is about making the profits of RDI, we need to do it all ourselves. No, you can also use external inputs that will add to the value. We need to get the invention to the markets, but also other ones can help you with that, and they can benefit and increase the cake. So as Katja Reppel quite strongly said, it's all about increasing the cake. So perhaps your market will be shared with other ones, but if the market is expanded, then you will earn more profits. The closed innovation approach is about we have the best inventions. But open innovation is about making use of inventions available outside of your organization. And it's about dealing with the IPR. We need to share IPR and risk and benefits. It's about having some core people taking the risk, your organization taking the risk, or sharing the risk with other ones. And of course, also the benefits. But that's also, again, increasing the cake. So if you can click again. Open innovation is about capitalizing your spillovers and enhancing your capacities and capabilities to innovate, increasing the cake. And it is about a new way of doing business and innovation. And that business and innovation, if you can click again, that the business side, that's what I would like to go a little bit more in depth in. So it's about new business models. And can you click again? And another one. So business models, this is a quite simple approach to a business model. A business model is about what, who, how, and why. And if you can click again, it is about what are you going to offer, to whom are you going to offer it, how are you going to organize the offering, the value creation, and it's about why people should pay you for those services. And I want to go very quickly through those different elements. So yeah, click. Can you click, Michaela? So first, what do you offer? And how does open innovation change that offering? Can you click again? So making a distinction between the focal company and an external partner, although it's a little bit, it's not that easy to make that distinction, I'm doing it anyway. So for the focal company that is involved in an innovation process, in an innovation chain, it increases the innovativeness of your product, and you will get an improved product by making it more unique, but also through that uniqueness, it will also expand the application even. So you'll be able to make it more unique on one hand, but also have different versions of that product on the other hand. For the external partner, those can get their inventions a little bit more expanded and helping the focal company to, with your expertise and capabilities, to create that innovative product. And that's, of course, then for the external partner, that's a product. And it changes the external partners. They don't need to produce their core products themselves that much. You can be paid for your expertise and capabilities. The second point is about the change of the target audience. Can you click again? So that's the who. Can you click again? And it's basically for the focal company, a broader market. So you expand your markets, but for the external party, it's shifting your participation in the value chain from an end user being the focal customer to the system integrator that will be your focal customer. And in some cases, it will also you will also benefit from the expertise and capabilities of the focal company, and you'll be able to include that in your own products that you can sell to your direct end user. So the next point is about how it's created, and that's, if you can click again, that's even a little bit more there's even a little bit more impact on from open innovation on that. So if you look at focal companies, you're coupling external knowledge and resource and sources and the commercialization activities to your business development. And it's a distributed collaborative R&D process, what you're doing. And the virtual collaboration is of importance because you're collaborating with a lot of other organizations. You need to restructure your value creation in order to not only make use of your internal capacities and capabilities, but also of the external partners. So it is about a value chain organization with so-called permeable boundaries. So you need to be able to share each other's capacities and capabilities in a way that it's very easy to organize added value with a lot of organizations, a lot of your partners. For the external partners, it's very much about also opening up your market towards the other partner, the focal company. And it's the close collaboration that you need to do with those external partners. And it's about sharing inventions in an open way. And that's quite difficult because you will be on one hand sharing your ideas and your IPR, but on the other hand, you don't want to have those IPRs being only available for your focal company. It's also about how to give that IPR to other companies and other partners. So the last but not least is about the new business model, looking at the revenue model. So this is about why would people pay for you? And that's, I think, in open innovation, one of the most critical and difficult things. Can you click again? This is about increasing your customer base, the cake. It's increasing the value of your products. You'll get a little bit more money from the one product that you sell. But it's also about sharing revenues with your partners, with the external partners, and allowing the partners to use that value that you create within your focal company to external partners. And that's offering of solutions to end users and sharing the value. That's a very critical thing, a very difficult thing to organize. The external partner is, it is about letting the focal organization do the commercialization of your inventions. But you also will expand your markets for your products using the focal company. And it's transforming your R&D activities into actual products. So you don't do your R&D activity for yourself, for your product anymore, but you will sell your activities to the focal company and other companies. So can you click again? Oh, yeah. Yeah. So looking at the large companies, they can have some core advantages that you can see. You'll have new capacities for upcoming disruptive innovations, and you'll get new market perspectives. Working with a lot of other companies, external companies, will broaden your vision on your market. For the small and medium enterprises, startup companies, it is about increasing the access to larger company customer groups and markets, and also getting access to innovation capital that can be offered by the focal companies, which are normally a large company. But you need to be well connected as a large company to benefit from the more specialized, quick, very innovative solutions. And it's also important to find reliable partners. For the smaller companies, you need to be agile, but it's also the structural relationships on equal terms, which are a challenge, so to say, and a boundary condition. You need to be able to organize that. So then going to the next element, it's about the challenges. So looking at all these kind of, well, scratching the surface of what open innovation is, trust, creating trust is key to enter into a sustainable collaboration. But making sure that you capitalize the in and out flows of knowledge into your open innovation process approach, that's a key issue and key challenge. So it's about money. It's about how to capitalize and capture the value that you created among each other, and making sure that it's a viable construction. And that requires a very efficient way to create that collaboration, which is, especially in today's economy and society with the pandemics, how to create that use. You need to create virtual ways of collaboration. And another challenge is about dealing with competitiveness, because if you have a collaboration with a large enterprise, a focal company, if you could sell that, the added value that you bring to the focal company, and if you can sell that to another focal company, how would you organize it? How to deal with that problem, because it's a real problem. And it's about finding new partners with the right complementary expertise. Those are all challenges. And if you can click. So we see three, if you can click again. We see three, and that's based on the picture and the graphics that I showed before. We see three ways of organizing that open innovation. It's an inside out. And that's about how to create non-disclosure agreements, IPR, how to organize it in research programs. IPO is interesting there. So these kind of things are approaches that you need to research. But the outside in, so getting information from external partners in your organization, that's also about IPR, but it's also about spin-outs, corporate venture capital, etc., etc. And there are also ways in which the collaboration is a more balanced. So external, internal is more or less gone. You have a coupled approach to open innovation, and that's about strategic alliances, joint ventures, ecosystems, and platforms. So now going to our projects, our project, the PITCCH project. Can you click again? Yeah. These are the things that are quite challenging approaches, and we need to explore them. We need to find ways how those intermediary organizations can work and can make that open innovation operational. It is about how to create those alliances, those networks, those platforms, those ecosystems. If you can click again, this is what the PITCCH project is about. It is about exploring the operationalization of open innovation and the role of RTOs that can play to capture the value for SMEs and large enterprises. Because what we see in those red words, red entities, red challenges, that's where our technology centers can play a very important role in making that open innovation happen. So that was my introduction to open innovation and to the project. So I give the floor back to Paula.
Thank you, Marty. It's indeed an interesting presentation. I think we have some challenges ahead. Apart from all the IP issues and the matters that you mentioned, I was wondering if open innovation is also a cultural phenomena, yeah. But anyway, we have a question from Christina, and I think your last question or your last box answered this question from Christina, where she's asking, what is the role of support organizations as digital innovation hubs, clusters, and research organizations in open innovation? But you can maybe reinforce the answer.
Yeah, I think the open innovation concept is a challenging concept with a lot of benefits, but how to make it operational needs a long-term commitment to these kind of thinking and learning, because it is about learning also. And the digital innovation hub, technology centers, kind of organizations, if they're engaged in those open innovation processes, they can take that learning from experiments, so to say, and take it to another experiment. And that's why I think it's important to have the technology centers as intermediary organizations between the SMEs and the large enterprises. Because if one challenge is gone, then we can use that experiments and to make it available again for another experiment.
Yeah, and I think that's the spicy element that this project brings in and brings into the open innovation concept, that is precisely to have technology centers and other intermediate organizations as brokers or mediators among the process. I think this will be key, as we spoke while we were writing the proposal. So for all the members that are part of RTOs or clusters who are participating here today, if you would like to join our network will be open. We aim to increase the network of RTOs and clusters, so registration will be available through our website. So please feel free to register. We want a growing network. So I think we're running against time. If there's no other question, I see no other question, maybe. Oh, there's one question that is there foreseen specific EU funding to foster open innovation? We would have to ask this question to the Commission. I think we had Evangelos here, but maybe.
Well, we can say that in the project, in the last phase, we will have some money to also support other technology centers in that process, how to use the open innovation concept a little bit more. Because what we want is we want to offer a platform in which we can share the experience and the tools that we have to the broader community. So that's a bit the also the support that we can bring to new technology centers, and we will facilitate their participation also in that SME.
Okay. I don't know, Michaela, can you give an option to speak to Evangelius? Is it possible?
Yes, I will enable him to speak.
Evangelius, I think you can speak now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you for joining.
Thank you as well. Good afternoon, everybody. I hear loud and well the question about funding, EU funding. Unfortunately, I'm not in a position, let's say, to give a sole answer. I know that in Horizon 2020 there was a whole range of actions around open innovation, different ones apart from the one that apart from PITCCH that have received funding, and I'm pretty sure that this will continue to do so. So it's rather not about what EU funds can be, let's say, submitted or given for open innovation, but rather how open innovation in different actions, regardless of how they are entitled, can play a role. So I hope I'm not diverting the question from our side, at least from the side of the Commission and from the side of DG Growth that I'm speaking of, and that we are funding and providing policy steering for this action. There is a commitment, let's say, to move on. And this is what this action is all about. Pilot these activities and see whether we need to do something as a follow-up. But from the side of other projects, I would rather see a kind of the mindset to be diffused, the open innovation mindset and the open innovation paradigm and different functions and activities to be diffused in project activities, and not only, hopefully, Horizon funded activities, but rather activities that are closer to the market. I hope I have answered the question.
Yeah, you were clear. Thank you. Thank you. You were clear. Our project is also focusing on sustainable business models and see how we can fund these open innovation activities without public funding. So let's hope we will reach some conclusions at the end of the project. So now,
if I may add one thing, Paula, there is the strategy for European digital innovation hubs now, and I think the open innovation concepts are also important for European digital innovation hubs. So they will have also funding to well, co-create open innovation initiatives.
okay, so I don't think we have any further questions, and to keep up with the schedule, I would pass on to George. So George will share his experience on a concluded open innovation project, and hopefully we can get some insights, some interesting practical insights. Thank you very much, George.
Thank you, Paula. Let me share my screen. Tell me, can you see my screen? Can somebody tell me if you can see my screen?
Yes,
yes,
perfect.
yes.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. I'm really glad to be here. I must say that the discussion, the collaboration that has started between ourselves and the PITCCH Consortium is a typical case of open innovation. We are all organizations that have open innovation in our heart, and Moritz have provided a very good overview of what open innovation is. Before starting my presentation, let me introduce myself. I'm George Secouras. I'm the Director of Research Institute in the University of Brighton. That's called the Center for Change Enterprise and Innovation Management. And we are looking into issues of innovation and innovation management, especially for the smaller businesses. Now, I think Moritz provided a very good rationale why we need open innovation today. If I can add just one element to this, is the story of Amazon, which is, according to the reported information in the press, in the national press, in the middle of a pandemic, where shops are closing and businesses are suffering and a lot of economic pains induced to people, Amazon has managed to increase its wealth by $25 billion. And this is good and bad news at the same time. It's good news because it shows that when a company is ready to innovate and they have developed the innovation armory, then they can deal even with the sharpest crisis in the market or the economy. So there is a way out of the sharpest crisis in the economy, if you are appropriately equipped with innovation arms in your business. At the same time, it does represent a kind of a concern for us, in the sense that the large companies like Amazon manage to develop their wealth and their fortune more and more. So there is a process, an ongoing process that we need to address, how we can provide an environment that's a more balanced environment, and it gives opportunities for development and growth to the smaller businesses as well. So in other words, and using Mauriz's presentation, how we can equip the smaller businesses to be as good as the larger businesses with innovation and open innovation, so to give them the chance to deal with this sharp crisis and, of course, develop themselves and grow in the long term. Maurice put together a very nice comparison, contrast, so I don't want to expand on that. We do have today the ideas of open innovation being dominant. If there is one element in open innovation that really is key to my reading, is that the company that would benefit out of the whole innovation process is not the company who is the first to the market, is not the company who has the best employees, is the company that has the best business model. And I think it has been already discussed in the previous conversation, in the previous presentation. So the big issue there is, how can we develop small companies, small and medium-sized enterprises, what is termed SMEs in the European language? How can we equip them with the right frames of mind, with the right strategies, with the right management approaches, in order to give them the chance to grow, in order to give them a chance to use open innovation for their benefit? And if you see the picture there, the European Commission had an analysis a few years ago that we feel fully share and agree with. So if you look at the phenomenon of open innovation, it's a great phenomenon with unique benefits coming out of it. But frankly, the larger companies seem to do better in this phenomenon than the smaller equivalents. So that was the case, of course, to be addressed. What was the underlying reasons? What was the strategies and the tools and the support measures we can use in order to enable the smaller businesses to do a more professional job in open innovation? And here was the big paradox. A small company needs by default open innovation, because by default they don't have the resources or the people or the skills to complete an innovation journey. But at the same time, if you look at the academic literature, you see a lot of issues when small companies going down this route. Here is a brilliant publication published by a good colleague in the United Kingdom, where he examined the relationships between small companies and large multinational corporations in open innovation. And when you go deeply into the interactions between these two partners, you see that the small companies have a very terrifying feeling when they're engaging in these interactions. They have the feeling of dancing with a gorilla, meaning that they are afraid that the multinational company may grab all the value and leave them dry. They afraid the asymmetry of power in the interactions between them. They afraid that if there is a legal dispute, they will be really weak to defend their interest. Of course, the solution there is not to start a battle between the two worlds, and nobody suggests that, but the solution there is to develop the tools and the strategies to enable the smaller companies to do a more professional job in open innovation. The European Commission issued a call back in 2015. We bid for it. We were lucky enough to get the bid. So we started our work in 2016. It was a consortium of 9 organizations, universities from Sweden, Spain, companies from Greece, Lithuania, and Belgium, a range of different partners. We have the luck to have been Embark in our consortium. Someone who has written a lot about open innovation in SMEs, and of course our own knowledge and our experience. So we started investigating the phenomenon. The first thing we needed to understand is why an SME will engage, and this is the consortium, I'm sorry to say, is the consortium that carry out the work. So the first thing we needed to explore was why the SMEs innovate, how SMEs do a good job in open innovation when they come to do it, what distinguishes a good job in open innovation for a small company from a relatively poorer job in open innovation. So of course, the first thing to do was to start from the reality and go out in Europe and find small companies that they have done open innovation and they benefited themselves. And there was a challenge that was lying ahead of us. We had to find a sufficient variety of small businesses in terms of size, in terms of life cycle position, in terms of technological intensity, in terms of sector, as well as in terms of geography. So we had to cover different regions, both high-tech and low and medium-tech SMEs, micro, small, and medium, and all the rest of that, in order to build a relatively good picture of what is a good innovation process for a smaller company. This is the companies we managed to find and interview, 113 companies altogether, most of them cases, SMEs that have done a very good job in open innovation. So we went there, we did our research, and we tried to learn from them what makes a good job in open innovation for small business. And of course, I have to say, all these cases, we documented in a nice template. So we put it out in our portal. I'll share the portal at the end with you. So it's for you, for public knowledge to understand and read and understand. So it's a very good reading with lessons learned, the business impact, and all the rest of that, for people to understand what a good open innovation process is for an SME. Let me unfold a little bit our findings and what we found and how we are trying to help the small businesses to do a better job in open innovation. The first and most important point that we found through our research was that a small business sometimes, and excuse my expression, they may even hate the word innovation or all the terminology that we, the academics, using open innovation and all the rest of that, and we are really inspired by it. A small business, they only want to start a conversation about innovation if it is to address specific strategic challenges that they have in their business. So if you go to a small company, and here is speaking somebody who has burned his fingers on the past on this field, if you go to a small company and you tell him, let's talk about innovation projects, he will very probably say, I'm sorry, mate, I don't have a lot of time. I'm really running in a lot of issues, and I have to go to give my time in a different story, in different issue. If you go to the SME and you start, though, understanding the strategic challenges they have and trying to formulate the strategic objectives they have ahead of that, and then from that build an innovation project, then it's a completely different story. So the first lesson we learned from all these cases is that we need to understand better the strategic challenges that the SME is facing when they start considering an open innovation opportunity. A difficult job. As we know, the strategic challenges can be a very a high variety of challenges. So in order to make the complex story more simple, we said that the small company has 4 fundamental strategic challenges to address. Either it's a startup or a new venture. That means it's an established company, but they have a new product to bring on. So either start up the company or have a new venture for themselves, or it's a company that what they're trying to do is to build up their competitive advantage and increase the chances of survival. Typical case, the story of pandemic today, where a lot of the small companies are facing this challenge. Or thirdly, they have the strategic challenge of trying to grow. So they want to increase their turnover, profitability, expand to our different markets, expand to different geographies, doing some exports and all the rest of that. Or finally, it's a small business that have been established for some time. They've done the full circle, and they came to the position now that their product and their position in the market is quite saturated, and they need to reposition themselves, they need to renew. So these 4 challenges is probably captures the variety of the different strategic challenges that the SMEs have. Of course, we know that if you go to the SMEs, you can find a much more elaborated list of strategic challenges they're facing. Now, what is the way to address these challenges with the SMEs? a very simple dialogue that needs to be the starting point for any interaction with SME that you're considering to go to open innovation. This dialogue is simply a few questions. Where is your business today? Where you want your business to be in 3 to 5 years? Start considering the different routes to get there in 3 to 5 years time. And of course, start discussing the different scenarios that will bring you to the desired point in 3 or 5 years time. From that point, you can start considering the most appropriate open innovation for yourself. From that point, you can start considering and developing the innovation projects that will serve your strategic objectives. Okay, that's the opening point, that's the starting point. We need though to get into the core of the interaction. So we need to understand better what follows in a successful open innovation process for SME. When we did our research, and we did a lot of head scratching and tried to understand better, we found a number of different factors playing a role: culture, trust, and the factors I mentioned already in the previous presentation, very nicely put. In order to try to articulate all these factors, we came up with the conclusions that there are 2 clusters of critical success factors for open innovation in a small company. The first one, which I want to elaborate in a minute, is the open innovation strategy that the small company is using. What are the strategy that they are following? What is the strategy they are deploying in order to address the strategic challenges, as we said before? And from there, it follows how they can identify and evaluate what is the right key partnership for them. So in simple English, how they can find the right partner to serve and address the strategic challenge that the company is facing. And secondly, how they can choose from different types of partnerships as they go along in the innovation process. And again, the last presentation showed the innovation process has differing objectives as you go along. So as the SME is going along, all the way from the new idea to generate value out of the innovation journey, how they can decide the appropriate type of partnership they need in order to complete the journey and of course capture value for themselves. The second cluster of factors was about the open innovation management, how you can manage a project, which I'm going to expand in a minute after I speak about the open innovation strategy. So here we are on open innovation strategy. And as I said, one of the things that we need to understand is what the different potential partners that exist out there to benefit an SME in their open innovation journey. And here, doing our research, we came with 8 different types of partners. Research and technology organizations, including universities, suppliers, so the suppliers of small companies that they may play a role in helping them to develop their products, services, or whatever is the innovation they're developing. Complementary partners, so partners that they have a set of skills that they don't have and they need in order to develop a specific product. Typical case, an SME has a know-how of a new technology, but they don't have the knowledge of a specific technology that is complementary to this one and is needed to develop a new product or a new service. Then we have the partners that are on the market side. So customers, again, typical case, a small company has a know-how of a technology, but they don't have the knowledge of the market they want to address in order to apply the technology in this particular market. End users, this is the people that will use the outcome of the innovation and benefit from using this specific innovation. Communities and the crowdfunding, crowdsourcing, and all the rest of that. So speaking to the general crowd about how you can advance your innovation, or speaking to specific communities how you can advance your specific innovation. A very nice story I remember from a company developing wheelchairs that can get disabled people into the sea. It's installation usually put in a beach. They went out and they speak to communities of disabled people to understand better their requirements so they can incorporate these requirements into the building system or the innovation project they were developing. Next category, competitors, potential competitors that they may have already access to the market or they have something very useful to them. and finally suppliers, as I think we covered that already. So we found 8 different categories of partners, 8 different capacities of an open innovation partner that the SMEs use in order to advance their innovation and to complete the innovation journey. On the other hand, if this is the outside-in story, this is what kind of input the SMEs need in order to complete the innovation journey, we needed to examine their business model. So we needed to examine to what extent these companies are opening up their business model in order to benefit from the open innovation process. Very much as Henry Chesborough said, it's about opening up new ways to the market. So it's about opening up your business model in order to exploit from things that you have already developed. So put these 2 categories together. If you speak about business model, we have a case of having an internal exploitation where primarily the SME is exploiting the outcome of innovation themselves. They don't open up the business model through bringing others into their business model. They have a case of co-exploitation, so a case where the business model is being implemented by 2 different partners or more at the same time, simultaneously. So we both sell this product and whoever sells more captures more value. And finally, we have a story of external exploitation where the small business is giving the outcome of the innovation project to somebody else in order to exploit it and pass back a share of this value back to the SME. That was the 3 levels of the business models we found. Combine it with the 8 different types of partners we saw, and we have a matrix like the one you see in this slide. If you try to look, though, in depth in the 113 cases we have had, and here we have devised the concept of open innovation move, which is the specific partnership that the SMEs are initiating in order to develop the innovation project, you see a high concentration of open innovation moves into the north and western corner. That is open innovation with R&D service providers, open innovation with complementary partners, and primarily based on internal exploitation. When you go into co-exploitation, there is a small window of opportunity with complementary partners, but this is an exception rather than the rule. So that was the first priority of the small companies from the reality of our research. And the second priority is to innovate with customers, so partners that have already access into the market and trying to ally with them in order to see exploitation and value generation out of the product or service or process they've been developing, complemented by some collaboration with suppliers and end users, but really the percentages there drop significantly. So all in all, we saw a range of open innovation moves that were available to SMEs, but the SMEs saw a very strong preference to a very narrow range of open innovation options, those that I would say involves less risk and more control for themselves. However, we have seen cases where open innovation have successfully used other forms of open innovation. So here is the big challenge, how we can support small businesses into using forms of open innovation that are not currently using, but they can be equally valuable for them.
George, yes. Sorry for interrupting, but if you, I don't know how many more minutes would you need for your presentation?
5 minutes.
5 minutes, okay. Okay.
Yes. Thank you. Right. So, big question, $1 million question. What can we do to help a small company to make decisions on these issues by not neglecting options that are there and by addressing these strategic challenges and needs? We put together a nice canvas and we said to the small company, look at this canvas, which is the left part of what you see here, and trying to see which part of the journey your current challenge belongs to. So try to decide better what is your current challenge. And here you see the different stages of the open innovation, of innovation journey, all the way from exploring an opportunity, define the concept, validate the concept, introduce a product to the market, scale up and expand and diversify, Try to understand then where about you are in this stage. In order to help you with that, we put a number of questions that really can help you decide where about your current challenge belong to, where about you are in this innovation journey. Once you've done that, we ask you to do a simple job. We ask you to do an audit of the skills you have internally and the skills you're missing. So trying to understand very well what is the already existing competencies and resources you have within the small company that can help you addressing the current challenge. What are the competencies and resources gap you are experiencing? In other words, the competencies and resources you need from an outside organization in order to address the current challenge. Once you've done that, trying to think ahead of the future, trying to think of the future competency resources that will appear in the stages of the innovation journey that are coming up in the future for you. That was an attempt to help the small companies to understand the strategic picture of open innovation. And of course, then we have to address the managerial issues, how you manage an open innovation project once you start it and you select carefully the partners you want to partner with. And of course, this is a matter of managing the expectations of the partners. This is a matter of preparing themselves, because a small company does not necessarily mean that they are ready for open innovation and open up. This is a matter of systematically monitor and evaluate the open innovation relationships. There again, here you see some evidence that we capture when we have a small company interacting with a multinational enterprise. We have a number of enabling and limiting factors that play a role, and that can be either from the side of multinational or the side of small company. If you don't manage sufficiently all these different factors, you are not going to see a fruitful result in this interaction. So there was a high need to address these issues. That was our approach to address these issues, by saying you need an action plan, not how to find the right partner, which has been addressed by the previous part of the canvas, but how to prepare the company, how you work with the partner, how you deal with the conflicts, how you work with the crowd, and how you make success out of failure. This is our canvas attempt to put that into implementation. So here is a number of ideas that the SMEs can work out together with their coaches, with the consultants, trying to prepare themselves and trying to manage a project, an open innovation project that generates value for them. A critical issue, what is the KPIs that you want to see as an open innovation outcome and as a business growth for the company, because that's the end of the journey. Final story, and I'm closing. I know I'm using your time. Here is an attempt that we made to help the SME understand how ready they are for open innovation. So I have a number of questions, self-assessment questions here. Again, it's in our portal, where we say to the companies, respond to these questions, and then you can see how strong you are internally in one part of the journey and how strong you are in open innovation. So how much experience you have in open innovation in this particular part of the journey, how much of experience you have in internal development. If you have a part of the journey that you are weak both internally and externally, it's a critical area that needs to be addressed. If you have a part of the journey that you are strong in one of the two areas, then you don't have to worry. And if you have obviously a part of the journey that you're strong both internally and in open innovation, again, you are enjoying strength in this area. So here was an attempt to help them assess themselves. In addition to that, we put a number of tools that can help this interaction of small businesses in open innovation. 120 tools you're going to find in our portal with explanations on how to use it, examples of users, online links about this tool and all the rest of that, with some guidelines on how to use it. And of course, as I say, you can find all that together with the handbook and some videos in our portal. It's www.inspire-smes.eu, which you're welcome to join and visit anytime. Thank you.
Thank you very much, George. In fact, I think we learned a lot with your presentation. I think we can take out some practical advice for the implementation of the PITCCH project. But from here, I took, among other things, that there are two main success factors. One is the innovation strategy of the company, and the other is the key partnerships. So I guess that it's within this second key success factor where the PITCCH network could actually add value and promote a successful innovation partnership, because we, the technology centers and other transversal entities, innovation intermediaries, we will be precisely forging the collaborations, matching the needs and the interests in the best way possible. So I think here is where we would be a key element to this open innovation framework. I don't know if there are any other questions. I don't see questions on the Q&A in chat. I don't know if anybody would like to say anything else. Share any comment? I guess not. Evangelos, I don't know if you would like to come in. Moritz, the other speakers? I guess not.
Paolo, this is Evangelos as well. Actually, it was really inspiring, and I thank Mr. Tsakouras for his presentation. It was really inspiring, at least for me. I was just hesitating to pose a question because I think this webinar is mostly in the interest of users that are joining, and not really from the from the operator that is funding. But maybe just to steer up a little bit the discussion for Mr. Tsakouras, I was wondering, as an outcome of the project, have you seen interest directly from SMEs in these tools, or from intermediary organizations, networks, in leveraging these tools in order to reach out to SMEs?
Yeah, well, thank you. It's a very good question. We have seen strong interest so far. This outcome and this portal is already in use. We have our university received a big project from the European Regional Development Fund, the RDF, and we are setting up an accelerator in our campus to help SMEs that are based on science and R&D to accelerate. This is called the Bright Project. We are actually, you can find more information on the internet. So we're implementing that in collaboration with PlusX, which is an organization of UNI. It's a big organization of running accelerators all over UK. The project has already started, and we are about to train the coaches to help SMEs with the Inspire methodology and the Inspire tools. So that's the first good outcome already in implementation. Secondly, we are, with the help of the European Commission, we're in discussion with the European Enterprise Network. They shown strong interest to pilot the results of our project. And if the results are encouraging, to consider a full-scale development, helping SMEs in the European Enterprise Network in the next funding program, which starts in 2022. So that's the two most important discussions. In addition, we have a number of other discussions ongoing. We have a number of different approaches from different organizations that they want to discuss with us, and we're discussing with them. I have nothing concrete yet because they are still discussions, but these two are already in place, and we are drawing some memorandum of understandings and for the second, and the project is already in place for the first one. And of course, we have the collaboration with the PITCCH Consortium that we're very glad we started. I think we have a strategic commitment on both sides to consider new opportunities and to develop and build on the outcome of these projects. It's also very important.
That's the most important one, I guess.
That's the most important one. And I'm guilty of having delayed the memorandum of understanding, but I'm working on it, Paula.
Okay. Yeah, because it would be very interesting. I think it would be interesting especially for us, but I think also for you, and that we collaborate and build upon the results of the projects.
Of course.
Okay. I think if there are no further questions, oh, there's one more question in the chat. Let me see. Nope. No more questions. So, well, we will disseminate the presentations. The presentations will have the contact. So then each of the participants can feel free to contact George. So I would now pass to the presentation of Michaela. Michaela will briefly present on what our Open Innovation Challenges concept is based on. Michaela?
Yes. So, as Maurits and Paula has already presented a bit PITCCH, I will be presenting the PITCCH project and the scope and our activities. So PITCCH stands for Pan-European Open Innovation Network for Corporate Challenges in Advanced Technologies. This project is a coordination support action that has been funded by the European Commission under the Horizon 2020 Framework Program, started last May and will have a 3 years duration. So as said before, the scope of the PITCCH project is to build a community of stakeholders that bring together the necessary knowledge in order to accelerate the uptake of innovations based in advanced technologies, and in this way increase the competitiveness of the European industry at large. So it has been proven that the open innovation, it has been proven that innovation is speed up by collaboration between companies, namely in the open innovation approach, and that this approach helps to strengthen the competitive advantage of the industry at large. However, it seems that it's still challenging for companies to get engaged in this form of collaborations, especially in building trustful and economic beneficial collaborations. And also, sometimes it's difficult for companies to access partners that are outside their regional ecosystem. Here it comes the rationale of PITCCH. PITCCH objective is to establish a pan-European open innovation network and with a European dimension, where technology centers and other form of innovation intermediaries assume the role of intermediaries in facilitating the establishment of these structured collaborations between big corporations on one side, seen as technology seekers, and small and medium enterprises and startups on the other side, seen as technology providers. So do not let SMEs and startups dance in this scenario as gorillas, just to refer to the expression used previously by George. So this network will be supported by the Open Innovation Digital Platform. The Open Innovation Digital Platform will be launched in December 2020, so next December. This platform will be the place where companies will be able to see and publish corporate challenges, and big corporations will be able to promote their technological needs, and SMEs and startups will be able to reply to these technological needs by proposing technological solutions. It will be the place where companies can consult and access brokerage services offered by the technology centers and other innovation intermediaries. And it aims to become an open innovation ecosystem that eases the search and the match make between companies and competencies, and between requests and offers. So how we are going to forge this open innovation collaboration? So we are going to forge this collaboration by launching corporate challenges, hence the first the PITCCH consortium, and then also the other technology centers that we will be involved, will work closely with the big corporations to define corporate challenges. This will be published on our platform, and SMEs will be, and startups will be invited to submit proposals with their technological offer. We will have 3 different cutoff dates during the project duration, and 5 corporate challenges will be launched during each cutoff date. The big corporation will be able to submit this challenge on the platform. SMEs and startups will be able to submit their proposal. Only the shortlisted SMEs and startups will be then invited to present their pitch in front of the big corporation, and the final choice of the SME or startup will be in the hand of the big corporation after the pitch, and the selected SME or startup will start the collaborative project with the big corporation. Under each different cutoff date, we will test different business models in order to understand which is the best approach that promotes and facilitates the open innovation partnerships. So regarding the corporate challenge scope, so what we are looking for is the challenges from the big corporation that can follow in one of the areas listed here that are aligned with the European societal challenges and global challenges as designed under Horizon Europe. And we are looking for SMEs and startups that can offer solutions that integrate key enabling technologies and digital technologies, the so-called advanced technologies that are listed also here. The tree cutoff, as said before, there will be 3 different timing in the project where the challenges will be launched. So we are expecting to launch the first 5 challenges in February 2021, the second set of 5 challenges in August, September 2021, and the last set of 5 challenges in February 2022. As a consequence of the selection process, then we will have for each cutoff date 5 respective collaborative projects starting with a duration of 6 months. So some detail on the first cutoff, which is approaching. So now we are working with a big corporation to define these challenges. These challenges will be selected and published on our platform in February 2021. SMEs and startups will be able to submit proposals to reply to these challenges by April 2021. The final selection of the SMEs and startups will happen in June. And the collaborative projects between big corporations and SMEs is expected to start in July 2021. So the selected SMEs and startups for this first cutoff will become third parties of the PITCCH consortium and will receive a 25K in-kind contribution for developing the projects that are aligned with the PITCCH scope. So in this scenario, we have seen that the corporate challenges will be the mean to forge this type of collaboration. On the other side, there will be the network of technology centers and other innovation intermediaries that will be support and facilitate the establishment of these collaborations. So currently the network counts of 5 partners, 5 innovation intermediaries. The International Iberian Nanotechnology Laboratory, that is an intergovernmental research organization based in Portugal, that targets research in nanotechnology and nanoscience. Then there's the Netherlands Organization for Applied Science, Scientific Research, TNO, which is based in the Netherlands and helps to connect knowledge to people and in this way accelerate innovation. RINA Consulting SPI is a consulting company based in Italy and provides engineering services. Standby is a consulting company based in Germany and is a part of the Europe Enterprise Network. And Vitamina is a digital company based in Portugal. This network is aimed to be expanded during the project duration by including new technology centers, other innovation intermediaries, and enlarge and strengthen our portfolio brokerage services. We will connect with existing initiatives such as the Advanced Technology for Industry initiative of the European Commission that mapped all the key enabling technology centers and technology centers focus on advanced technologies. We will connect with other existing projects such as the CAT for Clean Production, the EPPN, the DITCCH Net, to connect with the digital innovation hubs. And we will also connect locally with the regional ecosystems, with the regions. So here is to have a brief overview of the portfolio of brokerage services that we are planning to offer. So we have so far divided in services that are more technology related and services that are business related. So among the ones that are aimed to facilitate the development of innovative solutions, we are planning to provide scouting services, meaning that we will support to define the technology needs of companies, as well as to proactively search for technology solutions.
Michela, I will just ask if you could speed it up a bit, okay?
Yes, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so then we will also disseminate, promote the solution and technologies, as well as promote the technology requests. We will support in the technology translation of the, meaning that we will facilitate the describing the technical needs of requests and offers, as well as we will identify the technical competencies needed to integrate the solutions, such as technology centers provided testing and other kind of technical services to the SMEs and startups, as well as we will provide a feasibility check of the innovation. As it concerns the business-related services, instead, this refers to the training and coaching of SMEs and startups to prepare their pitch in front of the big corporation, but also in front of investors. And as well as we will assist all the negotiation steps for these collaborative projects between big corporation and SMEs, and all that is related with the intellectual property and exploitation strategies. So here is to conclude what we aim to achieve in this 3 years duration of the project is to build an innovation ecosystem and network of around 1,000 members that we aim to make this network last. In fact, we are beyond the project duration. In fact, we are planning to draw a plan for long-term sustainability. So to grow also after the project ends with more members, around 2,000 members after the 3 years of from the project end. We aim to build open innovation collaboration, as said, around 15 during the project's duration, but much more also after the project duration. We are aiming to have a brokerage service portfolio of at least 15 types of brokerage services actively offered. And we are planning to link with other initiatives such as the Europe Enterprise Network and also with the regions in order to understand which can be the political, the support, the incentives that can be drawn at political level in order to support SMEs and startups to engage in these open innovation approaches. And with this, I conclude my presentation, and thanks for your attention. Please contact us and also subscribe to our newsletter that you can find visiting our website, pitch.eu.
Thank you very much, Michaela. We have one question from David Garcia Gonzalez. So he's actually asking for us to share the presentation so he can distribute and publicize our challenges. So for sure, all presentations will be shared with all participants. David Garcia also says that we can count on his support with Polo Digital in South of Spain. So maybe we can have then a meeting with David Garcia and see how we can extend our activities or reinforce our activities within this Polo Digital initiative. And I think, I don't know, I don't see more questions. Or oh, there's one question from an anonymous attendee. It's not clear to me if I've already selected the corporations. No, basically any corporation can apply. So we are contacting some corporations, inviting them to join and to launch challenges. But in fact, any large corporation in Europe could join us, and we would like that very much. The more companies we have, the large corporations launching challenges, the better. So in the meantime, I had more questions, but they disappeared. I don't know what happened, but okay. I don't see more questions. I don't know if anybody would like to share anything. Any of the speakers would like to share anything, share their views. If not, then since we're running against time, we would go to the presentation of Cesar Martins, and then we can have one final wrap-up session for general questions to any of the speakers. Cesar, thank you very much. The stage is yours.
Hello, Paula, thank you. Okay, I think you already seen my presentation.
Yes, we all see it.
Okay, thank you, Paula. Okay, first of all, I'll talk about a little of what is PITCCH, and after that, I'll talk about the case study that we have been developing in partnership with INL. About PITCCH, we are a chemical company that have several solutions for one big problem in the photovoltaic panels, that is dust accumulation. And dust accumulation is a really big problem because, as you see, several types of dust. One of our products that we have is the Solar Wash Protect. That is a product that is 100% biodegradable, clean the panels and make anti-static coating. You can see here before and after the cleaning and the effect like hydrophobic coating that make to the panels. We have a factory here in the north of Portugal, in Esposende, is nearby Braga right now. We have office, laboratory, and a warehouse where we produce the product and expedition for 40 countries right now. We are a small team for now, and we are 2 more open positions. As me as the CEO, Pedro as sales, Tanya R&D and production, Emilia as production and office, and Fabio as logistics. And passing for the case study. As explained very briefly, we have different products like hydrophobic coatings for solar panels. And we ask ourselves, why not make for other fields? And with that, we submit a grant for CAT for clean production. And we have this grant with IML and Stefan Institute to improve a coating, a top coat for marine application. And the basics of this coating as apply our technology and develop like a paint that we can apply in boats or other materials that have in contact with the marine water, and without using biocide products, because biocide products is used normally to prevent biofouling or algae accumulation in the surface. And with this idea, we can paint these materials and don't use that biocidal products. With this project, we have opportunity to reach very interesting persons that have expertise in chemical field and help us a lot in improve our coatings. We have access to equipment to try and validate our formulations. And I think in resume that is a very excellent experience, because we are a small company, and to do these types of products we need help, and with this project we have the opportunity to make that. I have a small video. This video is made from Stefan Institute, that we select a lot of different formulations. We apply in the metal plates, and after that we make an immersion in Adriatic Sea, as you can see. Unfortunately, I don't go for the Adriatic Sea to put the samples, but the team from Stefan Institute had the opportunity to go to Croatia and put the samples in the seawater. And with that, we make a small validation of different formulations, having this contact with the water, and see after that in the laboratory what materials are biofouling and what materials perform better in contact with water. And the opportunity to work with Stefan Institute that have very know-how in these top coat materials to have in contact with water. Passing for the outcome. We have a successful top coat that is eco-friendly, and in the final of this development with INL and Stefan Institute, we select a very interesting hydrophobic coating that have around 120 degrees of contact angle. You can see this image that the drop jumps and stopping that small deformation of the paint. That's an excellent result for one paint to apply in maritime applications. For the final remarks, I think that is extremely satisfied with this project that we have with INL and Stefan Institute, because we have the opportunity to talk with this expertise and improve our coating, validate with different types of equipment, and make a small pilot in the field. And for me, as advice, as a small SME, I advise for other small SMEs that this is a good opportunity to go forward in your validation of our products or improve our products for this type of markets or materials. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Cesar. I think your testimony was inspiring for us to see that we have innovative startups willing to embrace in open innovation challenges. So like we mentioned earlier on, I think we also have here a cultural issue, but I think that with time, we may overcome this barrier for open innovation and for establishing open innovation partnerships. So I don't see any questions in the chat or in the Q&A session. We are already 15 minutes past the time. I thank you those who stayed with us until the end. At peak time, we were approximately 50 people. Now we're 30, 35. I really thank you for staying until the end, and I apologize for this short delay. We hope we keep in contact with all of you. We hope we are able to collaborate somehow within the PITCCH Network, either as a technology provider or as broker, or to share experiences. And we hope to see you soon in our next webinar. So we will organize more webinars. Any questions that you may have, please contact us, and we keep in touch. Thank you all.
Thank you, Paula.
Evangelos, I don't know if you would like to say something since you're from the commission, or I'm putting too much pressure.
No, it's okay, Paula. Thank you so much. I think the area and the examples that provided were really inspiring, at least for me. I hope it was for the other users as well. And as you said, we will be keeping in touch in order to make this happen. Eh?
Yeah, okay. Moritz, any last words? George, I thank you both.
So I really was inspired also by the presentations of the other people. And I need to digest a lot to really process it, to make it also happen within our project, but also besides our project. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
One word from me only. I think what you're doing, guys, is vital for Europe, as well as for dealing with the ongoing pandemic that is really affecting our lives. The only way out of this crisis is to encourage our companies to be innovative and develop new solutions for the people of this continent.
Thank you. And of course, collaborating with you. Our work will be vital collaborating with you, George. Okay, Cesar, thank you also. One last remark. I don't know, you're not obliged to, but.
Yeah, thank you. I think this is very impressive and interesting because we have the opportunity to make develop our product with these institutes, and it'll be great to synergize this with big companies and open the market for the small companies.
And last but not least, the person I would like to thank, Michaela, who had a lot of work organizing this webinar. So thank you very much, Michaela. And as the leader of the action, I don't know if you would like to say something. One last remark.
I'd like to thank all the speakers for the interesting speech. Well, I'm confusing with PITCCH. So one last remark for PITCCH, since it's really in our mind. I would like you to invite to follow our project, and I hope that we can have great, very fruitful results from the collaboration with the companies. And just a recommendation to follow us. And thank you all again.
Thank you all. Thank you. Bye-bye then.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.